Welcome to an additional market update today, as we've seen some very nice movements on the markets. At least if you like volatility, this is what you want to see, and this is what you're trading if you're a day trader. But we're going to dive into actually what has been happening today, and we're going to discuss the levels of Bitcoin that you should be watching. Before we're going to continue, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the YouTube update, and also do not forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And also do not forget to check out our giveaway, as during this weekend we're going to give away some very cool stuff. When we're looking at what actually has been happening today with the price action, you know that I've made a video or an update earlier today with the end of the bull market, which is clickbait. And if you're listening to my updates, you generally know that I'm not really saying anything like that at this point, especially as I try to be as neutral as I could. But today, and just as last Friday, we've had numbers coming in from the US, and those numbers are actually taking control over the market. So last Friday we've had an impact of numbers of the economy, which destroyed the actual price action of Bitcoin, through which we had a pretty swift crash. What we also know is that today we've got a new number or round of numbers coming in, which was the inflation number. And the actual November consumer prices has increased by 6.8% when it comes to year. So in 1 year we've increased 6 to 8%, which is the highest in 40 years. And also something that we should be adding to this is that it depends on the way you're actually calculating the number. If you do it on the numbers that we have that we've had in 1980, or the way that we've constructed the inflation, the actual inflation number is 14%. So the price ran up from support, came towards 49.6k, and then the moment of the US stock markets open started to happen, with the inflation number immediately resulting into a corrective move on Bitcoin, which is currently around 48.3k, because of the fact that a high inflation number is not really bullish for Bitcoin. Of course, it is a hedge against inflation, but because of high inflation numbers, the Fed might be accelerating tapering, narrowing the monetary policy, might accelerate the potential hikes of the interest rates, resulting into an impact of Bitcoin. I think that's the only variable that we should be watching in 2022 that could be impacting the price action of Bitcoin, which we have been seeing heavily already. So because of that high number, which is the highest in 40 years, we've seen an impact on the price action, at least in the past 1 hour, or like the past hours, in which it has been moving the Bitcoin price. And I think this is one of the core variables that we should be watching when it comes to bull bear cycles. But now we're going to dive into the actual price action of Bitcoin. So do not forget to stay tuned as we are heading over towards the charts. When we're looking at the higher time frame price action of Bitcoin, there's a few conclusions that we can draw. First of all, we can conclude that the price action in itself is trending south, meaning that we most likely are going to get more downwards pressure in the coming period, through which we are seeking ourselves for a bottoming structure to take place. The actual bearish divergence played out nicely, in which we rejected previous high and started trending south last week, also due to the fact that we had inflation numbers, or at least economy numbers from the US coming in. We lost the support level at 53.5k, and from that level we started nosediving, in which the low was 42k. Today we also had those economy numbers, as we know, and therefore we've started nosediving once again after we've had a rejection at 49.6, through which this primarily scenario still stands, in which we're going to have a longer period of sideways consolidation, in which we are seeking ourselves for a potential conclusion of the actual RSI to reset or make a confirmed bullish divergence. That is something that I want to discuss beginning next week, so definitely stay tuned. But the RSI is coming back all the way, in which we are getting closer towards an actual bottoming area in the coming period, rather than that we're going to continue nosediving. However, what we can see is that altcoins are down 80% from their all-time high in March to May, and also altcoins are resetting that have been doing really well lately, through which we are not in a period where you still want to sell your positions. We are in a period where you start looking at your entries and you start looking at potential accumulations of your positions, rather than that you want to start selling those positions, because that period is far gone and fear is currently heavy in the cryptocurrency markets, through which that is giving you massive opportunities, as we have discussed. So the higher time frame for Ethereum, for Bitcoin, is currently showing a phase where we most likely are going to have a longer period of sideways accumulation, and the actual scenario of a potential V-shaped recovery is currently quite far away. When we're looking at the lower time frames, it's quite clear what has happened, right? So we have noticed that we've been trending south since this recent rejection at 51.6, and we have been covering the levels that we should be looking at, in which the first one was this level around 49k, which we bounced from, rejected, started correcting, bounced from the area around 47.5, resulting in this move during the day, which I've also marked previously that the level that we should be looking at is the level that we have around 49 and 49.6. If we clearly want to do anything at all, we have to break those and flip the previous high. First of all, it didn't break, and then second, we also didn't flip 48.8k, resulting in this heavy correction towards the lows again, and through that we are still trending south. So technically speaking, clearly I still want to see this breakout taking place above 49.6 and flipping that in order to have continuation happening here. But if that is not the case, and we currently are seeing a clear rejection, so I'm definitely not eager to actually conclude that we are bullish in terms of the lower time frames, I think that a rejection at 49k would result in the fact that we're going to retest the lower levels at 46.5, and when we're actually going to retest those levels, we can also get ourselves a bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame or on the lower time frame. So at this case, after this heavy rejection, I think I still remain cautious on the markets. I also would like to advise to, if you're swing trading or investing, to definitely use those periods for dips buying or accumulating your positions. But in terms of trading, I definitely want to see a breaker above 49, as that will probably be the trigger for a new impulse wave up. Or we're going to get ourselves a bottoming construction at the area of 46.5, in which we're dipping beneath and creating ourselves a bullish divergence. When we're looking at Ethereum, we can clearly see that that is still showing more strength, despite the fact that we're also correcting here, in which we've had a breakout above the high for sure. When you're looking at the weekly time frame, there's a lower level that we are watching, so there's two levels that are actually important at this point. When we're looking at Ethereum against Bitcoin, the crucial area that I personally want to see sustain is this entire region. We have previously flipped the area around 0.077, so therefore you want to see the same flip occur here. If that doesn't happen, we most likely are in for some more range construction, creating ourselves another higher low before we can start a new impulse wave. So we're getting into a crucial area, and actually in the recent correction of Bitcoin, Ethereum is not showing too much strength, in which we've also covered this lately, in which we said, okay, hey, we have had a rejection at 44.50, came all the way back towards the support. Most likely we're going to get a rejection at 42. Well, that has actually been taking place, through which we are testing support again. But given the current weakness of the Bitcoin price action, I'm assuming that after so many tests, we are going to have another drop taking place towards 36 to 37, which is still pretty much fine for the price action, and at least taking ourselves into a longer corrective period, building a base before we're starting a new breakout towards the upside. So it's going as planned right now, in which we are fine, and I think that is still a massive opportunity period for anyone that is interested into the cryptocurrency markets. So that's my update for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you again tomorrow.